I'm Mike AD, and welcome to the Delta League podcast. This week, the most illustrious week in the Delta League season, the Wheel of Fire Tournament. This Wheel of Fire Tournament comes to you from the city of Los Angeles. Now, the night began with a moment's silence for the players that we lost this year, Carmen Thorson and Cameron Baptista. And then began the procession of the teams and the distribution of the hardware. Now, the offensive player of the year is Rob Donoff from Seattle. He scored 109 goals. Even though he was off for 2 weeks, the guy still won. What a record-setting season. Now, the defensive player of the year went to 2 players, Cyrus Holleran from Denver and Bernie Tully from Dallas, with 88 blocks each. Now, the leadership award went to Seattle's Lori Moss. She's really taken the mantle there and really exudes what it means to be a captain in this league. Now, the rookie of the year goes to James Korn from Seattle. It's hard to believe this guy is a rookie. He looks like a veteran out there. Now, coach of the year is for the second straight year Ulrich Schultz from Memphis. This team was projected to be bad, and he got that team to be just as good as last year. All power to him and the team that rallied around him. Now, Unsung Player of the Year award is Arnold Morell from Phoenix. For a player with his playing time, this player is worth every penny. Now, MVP this year belongs to Rhino Montalban from New York. This guy is quite possibly the most well-rounded player in Delta League, and the team just would be different without him. Now, the Outstanding Player of the Year award goes to James Korn from Seattle. He dominated both sides of the ball, and his contribution was absolutely undeniable. Now, in addition to this, we brought out the ownership groups from the 3 expansion teams from Las Vegas, Portland, and Baltimore. Everybody was glad to see them, and they brought out the hosts for the next Wheel of Fire tournament. Next year it will be Wheel of Fire NYC. New York City will host the Wheel of Fire tournament next year. Now, let's move on to the Friday night, where the tournament opens with the defending champions, Seattle, taking on seed number 4, Detroit, and seed number 9, Miami. And in this one, there is no doubt. Seattle wins. Seattle 54, Miami 23, Detroit 17. Now, Lori Moss got black-carded in this match. And when you see the replay, it's so easy to have made a better play. But when you're in the moment, you shove someone right into the goal, they go down, they come up with a bloody nose, and they usher you back to the dressing room. You die a little inside knowing that she's going to miss the final on Sunday. What a time to make a mistake like that. She must feel absolutely brutal. Now, Seattle fans used a racial slur on Detroit player Maurizio Fiori. Fiori was upset that the section of fans calling him a wop and a dago, and it definitely served its purpose because Detroit was definitely off their game. But come on, Seattle. I thought you were a progressive city. Now, after this one, a contingent of Philly fans, obviously bitter from losing the last playoff spot to Miami, constantly jeered and crotch-chopped the team and reveled in their defeat. Absolutely nobody accused fans in Philly of having great sportsmanship. Now, there was a very low attendance from Detroit fans for this game, and the reason is there was a certain percentage of the tickets that were allocated to each team for the executives, players, families, and the fan bases. Now, but the tickets that should have been allocated to Detroit were accidentally sent to Chicago. And New York, and the new Detroit owner, Tamara Al-Sad, she's pissed. She's pissed. For obvious reasons, she wants to be compensated, which she's actually entitled to. At least we now have a reason as for the lukewarm response to the team when they took the court. This is a bad look, and somebody should be fired for this. Now, for Seattle, it was Frank Viano and Amber Tagliabue with 8 goals each, and Rob Donoff with, I thought this guy was an offensive player, 23 blocks. Now, for Detroit, it was Tommy Anastos, not doing offense, 8 blocks. Another reason why they did not win this game. And for Miami, it was Marquette Weaver with 8 goals. And in the end of this one, Seattle moves on to the final on Sunday. Now, let's move on to the second semifinal match, where Chicago, seed number 2, is hosting seed number 5, Denver, and seed number 8, Montreal. And this looks like a typo, but knowing how crazy things have been in Denver lately, this is not a surprise. Denver wins. Denver 89. 89. Montreal 37. Chicago 32. Now, Montreal player J.J. Syverson, neck brace and all, got involved in this one. Fat chance. Not even God can stop Denver. Now, Chicago player Paul Marullo tore his ACL in this game. That is a 7-week minimum recovery time. Now, Denver rookie Damian Ellis is in a bit of a public spat with his coach, Jamie Stevens, over playing time. If I were Ellis, I'd shut the fuck up, because this team is on a veritable roll, and I'd be dumb to put a lid on the can of whoop-ass that they're unleashing weekly. Now, it's kind of stupid to make this so public during crucial times of the year, and it can only mean 2 things. 1, he's stupid. 2, he's getting traded. Because if you look at the structure of this team, he becomes expendable. Now, for Chicago, it was Das Hawthorne with 9 goals, and Finn Wehrle with 26 blocks. Now for Denver, holy shitballs, it was Larry McMaster with a Delta League record 27 goals in a single match. Then we had Vince Howitt, 15 goals. Alexa Saragossa, 15 goals. Randy Magnuson, 11 goals. Holy shitballs. And for Montreal, it was Angela Carlucci with 9 goals. And Stefan Grice with 6 blocks. So, in this one, Denver moves on to the final on Sunday. Now, let's go on to Saturday evening for the third semifinal match, where we had seed number 3, Memphis. They're taking on seed number 6, Washington, and seed number 7, New York. And in this one, in an extremely close match, Memphis wins. Memphis 23, New York 22, Washington 19. Washington got a bench minor in this game, and that was for excessive complaining. I know you lost the game by a very small amount. So did New York. Shut the fuck up. In this one, for Memphis, Carmelo McCall scored 7 goals, and William Miller had 28 blocks. Now, for Washington, it was Sebastiano Guarnieri with 7 blocks, and that's about it, which explains why they lost. Now, for New York, it was Bethlehem Cato with 5 goals, Rhino Montalban with 5 goals, and Rock Weinstein with 5 goals, and Simon Bork with 8 blocks. And in the end of this one, Memphis moves on to the final on Sunday night. Now, let's move on to Sunday night. For the Delta League Championship, seed number 1 Seattle versus seed number 3 Memphis versus seed number 5 Denver. And in this one, we have a new champion. Denver wins the second Delta League Championship. Denver 45, Seattle 39, Memphis 28. Now, Larry McMaster got yellow carded in this match, but he also won the MVP of the tournament with an astonishing 40 goals in 2 games. It's clear that not only is Denver the new king of Delta League, but Larry McMaster is the elite player in this game by far. Now, for Seattle, it was Ember Tagliabue with 12 goals, and Marnie Johnstone with 9 blocks. For Memphis, it was Armando Chiodo with 5 goals, and for Denver, it was Larry McMaster with 13 goals. Congratulations to the entire Denver Sky franchise for this victory. Now, let's move on to some Delta League news for this week. And Atlanta player Hedy Fenich declared his immediate retirement from Delta League, citing too many injuries prohibiting him from playing at the level he expects. Also, Phoenix player Tremaine Wolitzer, he's also announced his retirement from Delta League today due to his ACL injury that has regressed, and he is forced to retire. Now, Philadelphia announced that they're changing their colors next year. This is probably the 5th team that decided that they are doing this. This comes on the heels of an alternate jersey design that we saw a week ago that featured the Shred logo in Philadelphia Eagles colors. Not knowing if this was a tribute, a one-off, or as this is what they're going with. But Philly has so many options to draw from, so time will tell. But come the draft next year, they're going to see a whole bunch of new jersey designs that are going to make the shop zone explode with activity. Now, Toronto is sending Mr. Dependable Valdemar Odette for a 4-week conditional stint. I guess they weren't happy with his play, or the weight he has been put on, but to be honest, the whole team needs to be sent for one of those ice plunges, because the last half of the year was cold. Now, SLC player Fraser Brandt is now vegan. Not sure how this helps the team, but to be honest, by July, he might not even be in this league. Now, so that's it for the 2025 season of Delta League, and we had so many stories this year. the crazy season that the Pirates had, breaking the all-time points and wins record. The team dominated the scoreboard and made everyone believe that they were going for a second straight championship, but another team began to rise and gain momentum, and that was the Denver Sky. You had players like Larry McMaster become the premier player in this league. Guys like Pooh McCarthy become incredible players in a short period of time. We had the revival of the Chicago Sky, who rebounded from a horrific season last year to finish in second place. Unfortunately, they ran into the eventual champion, Denver. Memphis surprised everybody with a spectacular season, especially after they were projected to finish in 16th place. All power to Ulrich Schultz, who continues to prove why he is the league's best coach. Memphis went all the way to the finals, which was eventually won by Denver, toppling the Pirates and becoming the new champions of Delta League. Now, we had other stories, like Detroit, who surged all the way from the bottom last year to become a contender this year. In the middle of the season, they added Tommy Anastos, assuring they'll be a contender for many years to come. Washington was once again good enough to make the playoffs, but injuries hampered the end of the regular season campaign, and they bowed out with a whimper instead of a roar. New York once again made the playoffs, and this year they were healthier and more competitive. The future looks bright. Now, Montreal, a team that was mediocre last year but projected to be much better this year, started the season in a laughable manner. 0-5. The kind of start that gets coaches fired, but ever so slowly they put one win after another and made the playoffs. Stefan Greiss solidified himself as a true franchise player, and Gus Partenza demonstrated why he is the player of the future. Miami. Woeful Miami, who didn't have one win last year, got one win this year. But they had so many second place finishes that not only set the record, but those 2 points added up before they were kicking at heaven's door. What an emotional turnaround for a team that was sad sack and awful. They made the playoffs. Just a great story. Now, Philadelphia, who had come out with some great efforts this year, thought that a playoff spot was assured. Wrong. This team got cold at the wrong time and was forced to see the wheel of fire from the sidelines. We had teams with lots of potential, like LA, who had a great team on paper, but were very much like Chicago last year, hampered by a long string of injuries and suspensions. Toronto, another team with a shitload of potential that lost key players, traded its captain, then fell out of contention like a stone. Now, Phoenix also had a decent team, but couldn't seem to put it together. Now, Vancouver, another team that was better than average, but not good enough, and turned on the gas 1 week too late. Boston, a team that seems a few players away from being a contender if the management would just get out of the way. Now, then we get to the bottom teams like Atlanta, Dallas, and Salt Lake City, who had one win between them all season. Now, it's truly giving power to those that believe that there should be some kind of salary cap in Delta League. The difference between the top and the bottom was that stark. Now, the good news for Atlanta, Dallas, and SLC is that it can only get better from here. Now, we had a rash of neck injuries that caused 3 players to retire and 2 others the rest of their season. Now, we lost a few players this year, with New York's Carmen Thorson and Chicago's Cameron Baptista dying in freak accidents. Such a senseless loss of potential. Now, we had 2 players arrested for drug trafficking, 2 others were banned for betting against their own team, and 3 players attacked their general managers, and 2 others were also banned for life for their actions on the court. And who says that Delta League isn't exciting? And with all this action and excitement, Delta League welcomes 3 expansion teams that will start play next year. Portland, Las Vegas, and Baltimore. The Delta League universe just got a hell of a lot more chaotic and awesome. Now, it's going to be a very active offseason, and we have an expansion draft coming up on March 7th. An amateur draft, all 4 rounds will take place March 28th in Atlanta. The trade deadline and free agent signings will take place on April 4th, and a 21-week, 19-game regular season officially begins on Monday, June 29th, when Atlanta hosts Toronto and Las Vegas. The All-Star Game takes place September 26th in Vancouver, and the Wheel of Fire tournament takes place from Friday, December 4th to Sunday, December 6th in New York City. So join us next year on the Delta League podcast, where the action continues to get more chaotic and never stops. See ya.